Hi there, folks who may be joining in. We are just waiting for Mary and Dr. Alesia to get on the call as well. So just hang tight and we will get officially started very soon. And if you can, do you see the chat function to just type your name over on the side of who's on and everything? That would be awesome. Hi, Mary. Okay. And I will actually be right back too. Just a second. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good. I like how you got the memo about black and white stripes.
I know, we did so good. And is it totally black and white? I've got a smidge of blue.
Oh, I just have black and white.
It was the best I could do on short notice.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
So should we get started, or do you think we should wait for Alesia? Because I think we have people viewing. We have 10 viewers, it looks like.
Wonderful. Hi, everybody.
Yeah.
Do we know where everyone is from?
No, I said I think with the Q&A function, people can. Oh, okay, so Yasha is here. Here's Alicia.
I'm here.
Hi,
Okay.
Alicia.
Hi. Oh my gosh. Let's just say I deserve a round of applause for making this happen right now.
Right? You're on a walk.
Oh, Tony got I couldn't bring that to I'm alive. I'm okay.
Yay.
Here.
Cool.
So, Tony's probably good for like 40 minutes.
Okay.
That sounds great. I think we've got Addison. Addison says that we've got 10 viewers on already, and they're going to chime in with where they're from.
Yeah, so Kaylee, do you have on the left side the Q&A thing? That's where they're posting. So,
I don't.
We have folks from Ulaanbaatar.
Wait, quick question. Can they hear us right now?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh, good morning, everybody.
So,
oh,
yeah,
I just pulled up the Q&A, so I just want to let you know I'm good.
Yeah. So
if you could do for me then, if there are questions, if you could just read the question since I can't see it.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I think we have folks from Mongolia, we have folks from Kansas, we have folks from India. Yeah. So we've got lots of folks, and we should maybe say for Dr. Alesia that she has her not quite 1.5-year-old baby.
Oh, picture of Tony. Hi, Tony.
So.
Oh, what a cutie.
So,
thanks.
I think we have our list, but would it make more sense for Alesia to talk through classroom expectations a little bit, just to make sure time-wise that we're good there?
I think that's a great idea. Addison, does that work for you, Alesia?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay.
So, Mary, do you think it would be helpful for me to run through maybe what a typical day would be with the classroom?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay, so hello everybody. My name is Alesia, and I'm really excited to meet all of you in just a few short weeks. And so what I want to do is just kind of tell you that your schedule is going to be jam-packed, but jam-packed with fun. And lots of learning, lots of experiences. And so I'm really excited about it for all of you, and that I get to go through this journey with you. And so a typical day would be you wake up bright and early, and you head to the classroom, and we'll have a morning session with the faculty. And it'll be just the 26 of you. And so you would want to bring your school materials like you would any other class. And so you'd want to bring something to write with. You'd want to bring anything that you might take notes with. And so we would have a morning session, and then around mid-morning, you'd actually be joined by around 12 KU students. And so the KU students KU stands for University of Kansas, and so these are students who are enrolled at KU, and they're taking this for summer course credit, and they're actually going to join in on a class with you. And so for a couple hours each day, you'll be joined by 12 KU students, and so the classroom's really fun, and lots of different examples are being tossed out. It's going to be a great time for you to learn about one another and about the different cultures that you come from. And so you'll have a class component with the KU students, and then we'll break for lunch, and then we'll meet back up in the afternoon for another session, but just with the women. And so it'll be a few participants join us for that afternoon session. And so it's kind of a long day, but I would think that you'll find that it's a very rewarding day because you're going to be learning a lot, not only about yourself, but about other people, and about how to engage in acts of leadership. So, Mary, please fill in any gaps if you think, or if you want me to go into more detail. I'm kind of leaving it vague and ambiguous on purpose, just about what we'll talk about in these different class sessions, but that's on purpose.
Good call. One of the things that we'll ask you to think a lot about, and Dr. Alesia has already sort of hinted at that, is that leadership is about a process, and this is about a journey, and we see leadership really holistically as a journey that involves a lot of different developments of your particular capacity, so be it self-development, team-based development, developing a diagnostic capacity, how to engage others, etc. So we'll be working through all of those constructs to help develop those capacities for you, and it's going to go quick, right, because we have 3 really solid weeks of class, plus a little bit on either end, but it's going to go fast. So I think one of the things that we encourage you to think about is the U.S. State Department has asked us to put together a leadership development program for you, and they've approved everything that we have proposed along the way. And so although you have a jam-packed schedule, we think there's going to be a lot of learning involved in this, and a lot of growth involved in this, and a lot of getting to know one another and learning how to function in this really amazing environment that elevates women's voices. And that's what this next 6 weeks is going to be about.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not sure about the different classroom experiences that all of you have had in your respective universities, but this is going to be a very fun and energetic and exciting classroom because you'll be able to experience a lot of what we're talking about firsthand. And so I think it's going to be like a classroom experience like you've never had before. And so I'm really excited for you to experience this for 3 weeks straight. I have a feeling you'll go back home and you'll want all of your classes to be like the one that you're experiencing at here in Kansas.
Yeah. And you know, Alesia, you and I lots of times talk about this the sort of the capsule of the 6 weeks, and certainly that 3-week kind of compressed point where it's all about the classroom as a laboratory, right? And so we think about it as we both deliver material in that laboratory, but we give them opportunities to practice in the laboratory, in the classroom setting, but also in that larger lab space of going to lunch, going to dinner, the free time activities, etc. Do you want to talk just a smidge about that?
Sure, about there's no right time for practicing leadership, that it's all the time. Is this what you're referring to?
Yeah.
So a lot of times we think that there's just a perfect time for us to engage in an active leadership, that there must be a time for us to step up, but actually it's all about incorporating leadership into your daily activities. And so any time is a good time to practice leadership. And so while we'll talk about concepts and apply them hopefully within the class, and so you understand what these different concepts mean, you're going to experience opportunities that you can use these different concepts or acts of leadership in all of the activities that you do. So outside of the class, in the morning, when you're all rushing to get to the restrooms to get ready, in the kitchen when you're looking for your food during downtime. So in the common areas at night, while you are working on homework or talking about experiences and memories from back home. So you're going to find a lot of different ways to incorporate leadership, and that's what we're really hoping, is that by the end of your time here, you realize that, there's not just one specific time or an instant when we should step up to engage in an active leadership. They're actually all around us, and so every day we can practice active leadership.
Good call. Addison, how does that fit into the structure of our agenda for today?
Yeah, I mean, I think that kind of dives a little bit deeper. We may kind of step back and take a larger look at the schedule and some of what they can expect in terms of travel. But I think that gets right to the heart of kind of what the program is about and why we're doing what we're doing, and may actually help make everything else make a little bit of sense. So I think that's awesome.
And one thing, just as a quick side note, so as a reminder for everyone, we're going to be meeting the Kansas women. When you arrive, you're going to see our faces and a number of other faces to greet you at the dormitory. And for our international women, you're going to see our 3 faces, and we have also a staff of undergraduate program assistants, and so Brashana Briggs will be traveling with us on the travel team, but we're going to be the ones seeing you at the airport. So we wanted you to get a chance to see our faces this morning too, so you'll know who to be looking for when you arrive in DC.
So you all know that there's a dog here this week. So you'll seen Primrose, and now she's barking. She was sleeping when I got on the call, but now she's up and needs to go to the bathroom. This happens like every morning. So Mary, is there a section that you could go over while I take somebody out to the bathroom?
Sure. Why don't I walk through a few of these questions? How's that? So perhaps talk a little bit about the cultural festival and our DC component. How's that sound? Okay, very good.
Sounds good.
So when we are in DC, a couple of folks have asked about, it looks like the cultural festival and the cultural dinner. And let's see, I think we have a question here. Cultural activities, do we present any cultural aspect of our country? So when we are in DC, we'll have an afternoon to give you some time to get ready. At our hotel, there will be a large space where women from all 4 programs, and this includes the women participating from the U.S., both in Kansas and then also at the program in St. Mary's. So Kansas, you're involved in this too. We'll have there'll be a lot of tables spread around this kind of large space, and you all will have a chance to put out really special items from your country. You can put together a video if you want to and have a rolling video of slides and pictures from your country. It might be hard for people to walk by and actually hear audio, but if you want to have something streaming or sort of rolling through a slideshow, pictures from your country, that'd be wonderful. So anything that you want to display, some people, it's not required by any means. Some people bring little food items, but you don't have to. So just anything that you want to do to share your very rich histories and cultures and backgrounds. Then also when we're in Lawrence, we have the cultural dinner, and that's an all-day activity from the standpoint of we're up early in the morning and we're at a local facility. It's actually a church downtown who gives us the space to use a really big kitchen and then lets us host in their very open space. So we have about 80 people who come, and not everybody is required to make a dish to feed 80 people, though. Let me make that really clear. But everybody makes a dish from their home country, so folks can go through and they can sample. Food is a wonderful way to share culture and backgrounds and history and our stories about who we are and where we're from. So we get a chance to share that, and plus you guys get to eat a little something fun from home. But we get to share that with members of the community who've been supporters of the program and who you've gotten to know along the way. So our women typically dress again in traditional attire, the same that they wore when they were in DC, and we have tables set up there. So as folks come to the event, they'll get a chance to talk with you and hear about your country and whatever it is that you want to share. It's a chance also for you to share with the other women in our program and staff, etc. That ends up being a really, really fun evening. But we're cooking all day, and so it's about leadership, and it's about teamwork, and it's about how do we move in small spaces together so we can make a really cool opportunity happen for the people that we've gotten to know, who we've enjoyed meeting, and who are so super excited to have all of you, and that includes Kansas too, so you guys have to cook too, but have all of you here and participating, and they want to support your development and your journey that you're taking. So it's fun, and it's a good time. So hopefully that gives folks a few questions about maybe what to bring. So don't bring anything. I wouldn't recommend bringing anything big, frankly, but small items are typically what folks bring.
And Mary, I'll chime in too. You don't want to bring food, so you don't need to bring food. In fact, you just want to bring the recipes, because we'll be able to find dinner. All of the the cultural dinner. So don't bring any food. It's okay. We'll have we have different ethnic in Lawrence, and we'll be able to find all of the ingredients that you'll need. So keep that in mind. What you'll want is the recipe.
Yeah. And we take care of all of that, so you don't have to go out shopping and purchasing the food once you're here. We get a list from you, and we'll take care of purchasing all of that for you. Mm-hmm. So feel free to ping us with more questions if you have more questions about any of the cultural festival in DC or cultural dinner here in the U.S. Okay, so I just did cultural dinner and festival in DC, Addison, and that's it. I can't hear you.
I muted myself and forgot to unmute. So awesome, that sounds really good. So do we want to talk about dates, sort of broad strokes, when we'll be in DC, when we're in Lawrence? Mm-hmm. Okay, great. So everybody should have gotten an email from me last week with a copy of the schedule. And in that you will see that our Kansas participants will arrive on Tuesday the 21st of June. On the 22nd, we will travel to Washington, D.C., and then on the 23rd, all international women should arrive in D.C. And like Mary mentioned, we will be there to pick you up at the airport, so don't worry. So then once we're there, we'll be at a hotel in D.C., then we'll take a bus out to Osprey Point, which is a retreat and conference center. So it's really beautiful, lots of fun activities to do. You'll start diving in more sort of with cultural orientation, academic orientation, and learning more about one another. We'll come back into D.C. on Sunday, June 26th. And we'll be staying at the Melrose Hotel, and the address for that hotel should be on your schedule. That Monday, we will be on the Smithsonian Mall in D.C. You'll have some time to explore and go to the different museums. And then that afternoon, we'll take a tour of the U.S. Capitol. Tuesday, we'll have a meeting at the State Department, and then a cultural festival. And then on Wednesday, the 29th, is the big State Department conference. So that is when you'll be meeting with other folks from the SUSE programs across the country.
Across the world.
Yeah, across the world. Yeah, well, programs that are hosted across the country, women who are coming from all around the world.
There you go.
Yeah. And then we will travel back to Kansas on Thursday, June 30th. And we'll be staying at one of the dorms or residence halls on campus. It's called Self and Oswald. It's actually the newest hall. It just was finished and opened this past year. So you'll be some of the first people to stay there. So once we're back in Kansas, we'll have a few activities that Friday and that weekend. a couple of significant dates are happening all at once for us. That Monday is our Independence Day in the U.S., so we will try to provide you with a pretty typical experience of 4th of July in the U.S. And then on Thursday, we have on our minds and on our radar that it will be the end of Ramadan. So we will have celebrations, and we'll talk much more about what exactly you all want that to look like once you're here, but we know that it's on our minds and we're thinking about it. So then that kind of starts the more regular schedule once we're in Lawrence. So you'll have class, like Dr. Alesia talked about, and some evening events. And those are great times, again, to be practicing leadership in those events, but also just in between when you're on a break or when you're getting ready to go to an event. Those are all times to be incorporating what you're learning in the classroom. Some of the big things to note, our homestay weekend is that first weekend, July 9th and 10th. And then the cultural dinner is the weekend of, or on Saturday, July 19th. And the We Connect weekly mentoring events are usually, I'm not going to say they're usually, they're about once a week for each of the 3 weeks that you're here in Lawrence fully. We'll also have a guest speaker series and a spirit of service volunteering. So you'll get a chance to go out into nonprofits in the Lawrence community and do some service and see a little bit what the nonprofit and service world here in the U.S. looks like. So that should be pretty exciting. The participants had a lot of fun with that last summer. And then you'll see that in the second to last week, there on July 25th and 26th, you'll be doing your final presentations. And so that's really the culmination of your learning and the work that you've been doing in the classroom. So we will have a room reserved all day, and you'll just sort of go back to back on presenting your projects, which you'll learn more about. And then on the 26th, we have closing dinner. And almost first thing next morning, we are headed out and traveling to St. Louis, Missouri. We'll stop in Columbia for lunch and a little bit of shopping, and then be in St. Louis for a couple of days. Then travel to Chicago, stopping in Springfield, Illinois, for the Lincoln Museum and Library. And then have some time in Chicago. And on Sunday, July 31st, our international women will depart for home from Chicago O'Hare Airport, and the Kansas women will travel back the next day on Monday. So that's a really fast sort of run through of what we will be doing. Just something to remind you all, a couple of people have asked questions about what should you expect in terms of cost or expenses while you're here. So a reminder, once you are here, the program is cost-free to you. So all of those hotel reservations, and we'll be traveling from this place to that place, or when you see on the schedule that it says group lunch, that's a time that we are taking care of the bill and we're buying lunch. If there are times when it's lunch on your own, you will get an incidental card for if you scrape your knee and you need a bandage, and other little things that come up, but then we also will give you and say this is allotted for this meal. Mary, does that, do you want to, I feel like there's a little more nuance there if we want to get into it, but we'll talk a lot more about it. Yeah.
And when you're in Lawrence, obviously all of your meals are paid for through our residential housing. But one thing to keep in mind, if you're up at midnight, as sometimes some of our women are, and you want to order pizza and have a midnight snack, unfortunately that one's on you, but you can use your incidental card for that.
Yeah, so that's definitely a good thing to mention, is that while we pay for all of the program, any of the, oh my gosh, let's go shopping, or let's go to McDonald's, or let's order pizza, like Mary said, those are your responsibility. So if you want, you're more than welcome to just sort of check out, like, how much does pizza cost? What's the conversion rate between currency at home and currency in the U.S., just to get a better idea of exactly how much money you should bring. And I'm not exactly sure, Mary, maybe you'll know how much folks in the past have brought for sort of spending money, but I'm not I honestly don't know.
I don't know, actually.
Okay.
I mean, it varies so much
Yeah.
between sort of what their expectations are. One thing to kind of keep in mind, though, we realize, and we mentioned this in the travel packet that's coming out to you all by email. I know that I started to send some of it last week, but then it looked like there were some emails that weren't quite coordinated with the right names in the file that we got from the State Department. So we're finishing putting that back together, which I think will be correct, and we'll resend the travel packets out. But one of the things to keep in mind is that unfortunately you are here for, well, I shouldn't say unfortunately, fortunately you are here for a leadership development program at a university with an academic component. And so while we understand there are a lot of expectations, many times our women come here with from family to purchase things and bring gifts home. We do have some shopping time allocated, but the majority of our time and our focus really is on the program and the content and the classroom and those educational experiences that you're going to have.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Cool.
So shall we take a few other questions?
Yeah, one that I thought I could probably quickly address, I think they sort of go together. So Yasha asks, what's the weather like? Oh, whoops. Yasha asks, what is the weather like in the 3 cities? So you can look up, but it's pretty warm. So in Fahrenheit, it's usually between 80 to 100 degrees when you're here. So that's, I don't know what the conversion is. I could look it up.
And Dr. Alesia, what is the weather like in St. Louis?
It's very similar. So I live 4 hours to the east of Lawrence, and I would say it's the same. It's hot, it's humid, but right now it's actually pretty nice. We have for those of you familiar with 70 degrees, and so it's really nice, cool morning. Here's my son doing some gardening.
Oh
my gosh.
Look at these little hats.
Yeah, we're outside. He loves being outside. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it's between 26 degrees Celsius and about 37 degrees Celsius. So some people are like, oh, that's what it's like at home. I'm totally fine. Just keep in mind that sometimes it's a lot more humid here, so there's more moisture in the air. So some folks are used to a very dry heat, but in Kansas it's usually a much more humid heat because we will get kind of big summer like thunderstorms. So I would say be prepared for rain, but you don't need to be overly prepared for rain. The other thing that I would mention is that people time and time again say that it's hot outside but cold inside. We love our air conditioning, and so we keep it pretty cold inside. So if you're comfortable,
like really cold.
Yeah, really cold. So if you're comfortable outside in like 26 degrees, you're going to want to bring a sweatshirt to be inside because we're going to be keeping it much colder than that. So that's weather-wise. And the other question that I thought could kind of go along with that would be about, somebody asked about like being outside. Yeah. Okay, so the question, what kind of outdoor activities will we have? What should we pack for those activities? So I think if you have a pair of tennis shoes or closed-toed shoes, like comfortable walking shoes or sneakers, that would be a really good idea to bring those. And for other outdoor activities, it's hard to say. So you'll see on the schedule that we've included like kind of packing or recommendations for that day. When we're at Osprey Point, they are right on the water, and so and they have a pool. So some people like to go swimming, and some people like to bring shorts and a t-shirt or a swimsuit for kayaking. So you can do a lot of different things. There's sand volleyball if you want to bring shorts and a t-shirt or comfy pants and a t-shirt. So it's really up to you. Just think about the temperature, think about physically exerting yourself in that temperature, and what's going to make you both most physically comfortable, but like what kind of clothing are you comfortable in? So I'm probably not going to be wearing super short shorts and a tank top. That's not going to make me comfortable. But a t-shirt and, some crop pants would make, and tennis shoes would make me comfortable. So I think keeping in mind both of those things is a good idea for outdoor activities. But by no means do you need to bring like a ton of clothes for outdoor activities. Like we will have them, but it's not like every single day we're like out on a hike or anything like that. So
that's a good point, Addison, because hopefully if you don't, there are washer and dryers there. So you're going to be able to do laundry, and so you don't need to bring an outfit for every all full set here. You're going to be able to wash your clothing whenever you want. And so keep that in mind too when you're packing. Maybe a few different t-shirts, a few different pairs of pants, because you can, again, do laundry whenever you need to.
good point, Alesia. I'm scrolling through questions to see if there's anything else.
I saw one of the questions about culture shock, what to expect about being homesick and culture shock. And I mean, maybe each of us could kind of talk about what that might be. From my experience working with the Institute, yes, you're going to experience some culture shock, and yes, you are going to be homesick at some point during the 5 weeks that you're here and traveling. And so the biggest thing we try to do is we be there for one another during these times, so that, in a sense, this system that we're creating, we're your family. And so while we may not be able to fully substitute your family members and the type of food that you're really going to miss, because it will happen. It'll happen. Hopefully we can get each other through these tough times. And maybe Mary or Addison, you can kind of talk about communication with their families back home, what that might look like.
Addison, do you want to jump in?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really great that for folks who are thinking about homesickness and thinking about culture shock, because it's likely something that you're going to experience. I think as much as you can, prepare yourself and know kind of what your coping mechanisms are ahead of time. And for some people, they're like, I just need to immerse myself and keep going. And some folks are super close with their family. So one thing that they do is that they might Skype with their families, or they know that they'll talk to their families at a certain time every day or every few days. I think the important thing is finding that balance between the two. So we will have wireless internet in the residence hall and the dining hall, and so kind of in your downtime and in your free time, whether that's internet to just browse or do your homework, or that's internet that you're using to Skype with your family members, you absolutely can. But I think something to keep in mind, both as a staff member of the program and as somebody who studied abroad myself and spent 8 weeks in another country, the hard line with culture shock is taking care of yourself, but not completely secluding yourself from the rest of the activities. And so as much as you can, kind of challenge my choice. So choosing when to go. I really just want to sit in my room and talk to my mom right now, but I'm going to choose to go to this activity and try to engage it. And I think the times that are some of my best memories are the times when I had to do that and say, I really just want to stay in my bed. I'm having a tough time, but I'm going to get up and go do something, are some really good memories and are some of the points that were turning points for me, and kind of shaking off some of that culture shock and homesickness.
And I would jump in and I would say that so there's family that can really be a draw for us in terms of homesickness, and sometimes our friends. And every year we have some of our women who leave home, be they from Kansas or from one of the countries represented, and they feel like they need to really stay super active on Facebook, or they need to stay, and really engage with everything that's happening with their friends back home. And in about week 2, they realize that is actually, I'm missing out on a lot. And that kind of goes to both what Dr. Alesia and Addison have said. And then they realize this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and I'm forging some amazing relationships here that really are also going to last me a lifetime. And, we have women from 4 years ago who randomly met up in Dubai, for instance, because they found out they were both traveling and they had this amazing reunion. And you're not going to get that without really engaging this system. You're not going to get those other cool opportunities or those lifelong contacts from someone from Mongolia, or someone from, if you're from Afghanistan, you're going to have a wonderful friend now from Mongolia, or if you're from India, you're going to have a wonderful friend from Pakistan or from the United States, etc. I mean, this is such a moving experience. And so we want you to be prepared to both rely on it for the support that it will provide you, the friendships that you have to gain, but then keep in mind that by your turning and engaging in the way that Addison talked about it, for instance, you're going to be giving the gift of friendship to somebody else too. So don't forget that your plugging in and engaging with the program at all times is going to help everybody else along the way. And that's what we mean by the fact that we're a system.
I think that's a great way to put it, Mary. Really awesome. I'm looking kind of at our list to see if there are other questions or other things that we wanted to share.
Addison, are we, and Mary, are we going to be, I'm sure we've given them some checklists, but kind of refreshing and recapping all of this information that we're talking about today? Is there going to be some sort of document for them that they can go back and kind of like checklists to make sure that, if they have any questions that we can answer them, or to help them as they pack?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think packing is something that folks are asking a lot about as well. So yeah, I have gotten a little over enthusiastic on recommendation of folks from previous years with a packing list, and so it's pretty well broken down between DC residential stay in St. Louis, and so I can definitely send that out or post it. So yeah, for sure.
And just a quick, a couple people have said, I think maybe we covered it, but with regard to the event in DC, yes, you can bring traditional outfits. Also, yes, your presentation can include women's issues along with the cultural aspect. That's great. And in terms of how much to bring to DC for your table, again, it'll be sort of I don't even know what to call a normal size table, but kind of an oblong or rectangle table, I should say. So keep in mind that you're going to have women from the other countries with items to display as well. So it will be a country-based table that represents everyone's items. So you don't want to have to feel like on your own you need to put down materials that will fill a whole table.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, Mary. And it's probably 5 or 6 feet long, so it's not a huge table. So it may be a time for you all to kind of talk amongst yourselves about what, as a collective country group, you want to bring. And you may want to bring it's now occurring to me that this question could mean a couple of different things. So yes, you may want to bring a traditional outfit for the cultural festival, but if you want to bring a cultural outfit to wear, like to our State Department meeting on Tuesday, as opposed to like business, that is also appropriate.
It is. Do you want to mention the T-shirts?
Yes. So you'll see on the schedule that Tuesday we're going to be dressed nice in the morning, but then on Wednesday at the conference you just need to wear nice bottoms, and you will be getting a T-shirt for the conference. So you'll wear your conference T-shirt and either slacks, like nice dress pants, or a skirt on Wednesday. So you should be able to pack a little bit lighter for Wednesday, in that regard. Yeah.
And keep in mind too, the t-shirts will be short sleeved. So if you want to bring something to wear underneath that is a longer sleeve, please feel free to do that.
Right. Or again, a sweater, because we keep our air conditioning going.
Yeah.
So there are a handful of questions about final presentations.
And also I see a great question on the MVV project.
Yeah,
yeah. Alesia, quick question here. Should I prepare my MVV project on PowerPoint?
No. Actually, you can do whatever you want. I am going to, actually, we want this to be a very creative process. So however, yes, a couple months now. I'm really sorry about that. My neighbor is heading out. With the MVV, we allow you a lot of creativity and space for that creativity. So we don't want to put you in a box and say, you must do it this way, you have to have these components. And so as you can see with phase 1, we provide some prompts for you to work through, and we want you to work through those prompts, but however that finished product looks is going to be unique for you. And I understand why as soon as we get together and have our first wall post. And so if for you, if that looks like a PowerPoint and you want to do that, you are more than welcome to do that. And Mary, correct me if I'm wrong, you know, any format and how you want to put these materials together and work through that prompt is fine. We do call the wall post for a reason, but you know, that being said, people have used multiple different formats before to put together their information.
The one thing, so spoiler alert, we'll go ahead and give you a spoiler alert on this. When we say wall post, we're going to be, so even if you put things together in a PowerPoint, you're going to have to print that off when you get here because everything will go up on the wall. And as you'll note when you read the materials that Dr. Alesia sent out, this is really about the process. So don't feel like you have to have the most perfect finished product for that very first wall post. This is going to be a great example of the fact that kind of like leadership and doing some of these acts of leadership, it can be kind of messy. And it may require change. And you may be scratching something else and something out and writing something else in, and that's okay because the leadership process is iterative and the MVV is actually iterative. So I wouldn't get too focused on trying to have the most perfect, your material presented in the most perfect way for that first wall post. The main thing is you want to be creating content and have that content in such a format that we can actually hang it on the wall. Does that work, Dr. Alesia?
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, I really don't want to discourage any type of format, but yes, it is called a wall post because you will be literally putting things on a wall.
Yeah. So, and trust us, it's fun. It's really a ton of fun. You're going to love wall post days. So.
Yeah.
Maybe while we're still sort of on the topic, a couple of questions about final presentations, and using audio or visual aids.
So we provide, and I'll let Dr. Alesia chime in too, we provide a PowerPoint template for you because we have a process, and you're going to hear this a lot, but we have a process for the working you through the creation of material for your Leadership for Change project and the final presentation of that. And so that's a separate project from your MVV, and you can have, you can embed videos and pictures and such into your final PowerPoint presentation, But there'll be a bit of it's an action step, kind of an action step oriented process that we'll walk you through that's actually part of the leadership paradigm that we work with while you're here at the Institute. Is that vague enough, Alesia?
Yeah, that is vague enough. It's probably one of the only things that will give you some structure and guidance about and be providing you with this PowerPoint template. So rest assured, we're going to provide you with everything you need for all of these projects. And so I don't want you to stress out at home wondering, what is this project, this final project Dr. Mary was just talking about, or what is this phase 1 of this MVV going to look like? Because we're not going to give you answers and we're not going to put you into a box. We want you to really explore and have fun doing these projects, and so take it in any way that you want. And just know that we will always provide you with all of the information and the tools that you need. It might not be the information you want necessarily, but you don't need to do anything extra planning or extra research or anything at that point right now. We're going to have everything for you. So the only thing you need to think about before, in addition to packing and all of that stuff, are those materials that I sent out. And I'm going to send out a reminder here within the next day or two, just talking about the MVV and the readings, that you are getting a head start on those different materials and working your way through them.
Okay.
I think the ones that I'm seeing a handful of are questions about Ramadan and fasting.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to begin, or would you like me just to kick it off a little bit?
Let me jump in and we can kind of tag team on this.
Okay.
So in terms of, are there special arrangements for participating during the days of Ramadan? We will do everything that we can to work with you and try to help accommodate. And we have a lot of our women, Ramadan has fallen at different points in our program in the past. And so there have been times when our women have decided that while we're traveling in D.C., they are not going to fast during those times, but they will when we arrive back in Lawrence. And then some women have decided that once they get acclimated a little bit to the U.S., that they'll fast for a little while in D.C. And we work with you to try to make arrangements, certainly so that you have your food available when you want to break fast and prior to beginning your fast in the morning. The one thing that our women always do actually, though, is still participate in the program during the daily activities, and because they don't want to miss anything. But we do work with all the women who are fasting, and we'll sit down, for those of you who do want to fast, we'll sit down once you arrive, and we'll have a conversation about what your needs are and how we can help support you in that. And we will have I hear Shotzi. We will have a presentation. We will have a celebration also with you. So someone, I think, somewhere along the way said that you wanted to bring some food and such for celebrating the end of Ramadan. And we encourage you to bring whatever you would like to bring. We've had women do that in the past, and they've certainly enjoyed sharing with everyone else. Please keep in mind that we're wanting to, like I mentioned earlier, we want to support you in this, and we want to celebrate with you as well. So we'll look forward to doing that, and that's always a highlight of our program.
Yeah. I think while we won't have a lot of time back here in the residence halls in Kansas, you will be here for a few days if you're still fasting. And so the dining hall is actually really great about having accommodations. And we will have a fridge that you can put items in, and they'll give you to-go boxes so that at every meal you can go into the cafeteria and get food and then put it in the fridge, and just have that really handy there for those few days that we're back in Kansas.
And we ought to mention, we have an Islamic center that's close to campus, and they have our women. Last year, our women attended 8 a.m. prayers, if I remember right, and in fact, the entire group went with them
Mhm.
if I remember, to share in the prayer and celebration. So do know that we have an Islamic center close by, very close by, and we'll be glad to work with you and connect you if you'd like to do that once you come to Lawrence.
Yeah. Awesome. Just scrolling through to see if there are any other questions that we may not have addressed. Oh, here's a question, Mary, that I think is interesting. So, I'm thinking about bringing some gifts from Morocco, and I want to know how many I should bring.
Oh, wow. I have no idea what to tell you. The one thing,
because this is in relation to host family.
Okay, there we go. So for your homestay family, where you'll be staying in, as a general rule, there will be 2 women from our program who will stay with a family, and it's a local family here that we know, and it gives you an opportunity to spend some time, kind of learn what life is like for an American family, and oftentimes they will range anywhere from a couple, so 2 people, to a family with children, and I think 2 children is the most, 2 or 3 children would be the most that any of our families have. I can't think right off of any other specifics that have more children than that. Can either of you?
Mm-mm. No.
No.
And that's also a really fun time for our women, and those are special connections that they make. And so the cultural dinner is a fun opportunity for you to get back together with your host family, for instance, and see a lot of kids running around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Including this little guy.
Yes, Tony will be an honorary member of the staff this summer, right?
That's right. With me. And he's all over the place, as you can see.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's almost nap time.
Say that one more time, Alicia. You kind of cut out.
Oh, sorry. I said it's almost nap time for this little guy.
Yeah. Come here. Are there other questions, Mary, that you're seeing that we should go over, or are many of them just duplicates?
I think that hopefully we've covered for a lot of you, at least in general, some material that might respond. Someone says, for the card we will be given, how much will we be given? The State Department, I'll say real quickly, the State Department, and Addison, is this coming out somewhere in an email from you?
Which?
About the incidental cards?
We don't typically send it out ahead of time, no.
So I'll just say the State Department allows us to provide $40 a week for incidentals, and so that you will have cards in that amount. And then it really varies in terms of the for food, because some weeks, well, once you're in Lawrence, all of our food is taken care of either in group meals or at the residence hall. So it would be during travel that we might have some meals that would be on your own that you can go hang out with friends from the Institute or a buddy from the Institute. By the way, we have a buddy system that we'll talk about when we get to Osprey Point. But that really varies. So the one consistent thing would be for the incidentals, $40 a week. And that is again, that's a consistent number the State Department has set across all of the programs.
Do you want to talk about the friends and family policy, Mary?
Yeah, so lots of times our women, and that's from the U.S. as well as international countries, have friends in the location that we're traveling to. And so keeping in mind, again, the State Department has the intention that these programs are meant for you to participate in the program as opposed to use it as a time to travel around the U.S. And so while we understand that for oftentimes you've not been able to see some of your friends and family for a long period of time, that we're unable to let you leave the program. And what that means is that, let's say we're in Washington, D.C., and someone has some friends or family who might live in Virginia or Baltimore. On the day that we have, or the time that we have allocated for friends and family, they are more than welcome to come join us. So I believe that that's the time, is that correct, Addison, when we'll be touring the Smithsonian?
On Monday.
On Monday.
Mm-hmm.
They're more than welcome to come to meet us at, we'll have a designated place where we drop everyone off, and they can meet us or meet you there. But they'll need to, in essence, participate in the program activities that we have designated. So, for instance, have them come tour the museums. I mean, what a great opportunity, if they're in the area, for them to walk through the Smithsonian museums with you and visit. Again, we mentioned that we have a buddy system, so there'll need to be one participant from the program with you, which is also actually a really cool opportunity for friends and family to meet these amazing women. And believe me, I can't wait for you guys to meet one another, because all of you are incredible, and it's going to be fun for you to introduce your family to these amazing women that you're participating in this program with. So we ask you to have a buddy, and also ask that your friends or family, and we'll work this out with you. If you do have people coming, please let me know, and I'll work with you, but they'll need to contact me as well, so that I can have a conversation with them. And so they'll have it that designated time, and then I believe we're whisked off to a Capitol tour of the U.S. Capitol. That's a private tour for just our program, so they won't be able to join us in that, but they will certainly be able to spend some time with you touring the Smithsonian's. Or when we're in Lawrence, we have Friends and Family Weekend, and they would be able to fly to Lawrence and spend time, or drive to Lawrence and spend time with you in Lawrence, but we are unable to allow anyone to travel away from the program. So let me know if you have questions.
Awesome. Anything else we want to cover?
Geez, I don't know. We covered a lot of information. Of course, if anyone has questions that pop up, don't hesitate to just email one of us, and we can answer the questions for you. Unless, of course, they're asking about how to do your MVB. I will gently remind you to read through the instructions, and that this is a process about you and understanding who you are. And so it wouldn't do any good for me to tell you who I think you are. It's who you think you are. So work through those prompts. Uh-oh, someone's ready for bed.
Completely understandable. Thank you, Dr. Alesia, for being on the webinar. And thank you, Tony, for his cameo appearances.
I know, right? Okay, everybody, I look forward to seeing you. Tony does too. There's Shepsy. We look forward to seeing you in a few weeks. Actually, just a couple short weeks.
Right.
Hey, have a great day, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, Dr.
Bye.
Alesia. Addison, do you want to talk just for a minute about seed plot, so as a way for everyone to connect?
Yeah, so actually this, either later today or later this week, I will be sending out an email giving you all instructions to join in on our seed plot. And that is a virtual space where we all can connect before the Institute, during the Institute, and after. So what we see is that people come and they're like, they talk about the classroom space, and being in this space was transformative, and I just want to go back to that room. And the thing that's extraordinary is not the room. The thing that's extraordinary is each of you and the connections that you make with each other. And so the idea of the seed plot is that it is a place where you plant these ideas, and you cultivate them, and you grow these ideas and these conversations and these connections that you've made, not only with the women in your cohort, but also women across cohorts from different countries and beyond. So I'll be sending out an invitation, or rather instructions for you to join that later this week. So just keep an eye out for that email.
Cool.
Yeah.
So do you think that we covered everything on your list, Addison?
I think so. I think pretty broad strokes things. And I would encourage you all um, to just keep in mind that like Dr. Alicia mentioned, um, and Dr. Banwart, that ambiguity is a part of leadership. And so there might be times that we say this is exactly what needs to happen, but if we're not telling you exactly what you need to pack, like we give you a packing list, we give you a general idea, but I don't want to tell you exactly what clothing you should wear or exactly what you should bring for the cultural dinner, or exactly what that should look like. That we create the space for you all to be yourselves and to figure out what it looks like for you all to be yourselves together. And so take advantage of that. Take advantage um, of the fact that for 6 weeks you're going to be with a group of people who completely and truly just want to get to know you for who you are and want to grow with you. And so there's a lot of ambiguity there, and just trust us as much as you can. So I know there's some very specific questions along here, but just hold out for us, and trust us on that. That actually makes me think of who posted. There was actually a question that I thought, oh, I don't know where it went, but a question about what would we expect.
Of staff.
Yeah, what would staff expect
Of participants.
participants? Yeah. So I think for me, I just would expect you all to engage openly and authentically, and as much as you can to trust the process. And so to be patient in those times that ambiguity is high or stress is really high, and just trust that we are doing the best we can, and we're trying to make this the best program that we can for you. If you haven't figured it out yet, I do a lot of the logistic things. So sometimes those don't go as planned. And so we have to just sort of roll with the punches and take it as it comes. And so just sort of patience and a willingness to engage. Like, nothing gets me more excited than seeing each of you enthusiastically digging into whatever it is that you're doing. So whether it's an out of the class activity, whether it's a classroom, that's what's really energizing for me, and what makes it so much easier for me to get out of bed in the morning, to make phone calls and deal with a vendor, or all those different little things. So I think just to see each of you grow is sort of my goal for the summer.
I think that's really well said, and I'm positive that the rest of the staff would echo those exact same sentiments. I think the only thing that I might add is the fact that this will be, for all of us, 6 weeks is a challenging amount of time, and for some folks it's the longest perhaps that you've been away from family and friends, and you're in a new environment. So also be patient, not only with the program and with each other, but be patient with yourself, and take some time to do some reflection while you're here and think about what's happening on the inside, as well as how you're engaging with other people and how you're watching other people engage. What does that tell you from a learning standpoint, and how can you learn a lot more about yourself so that tomorrow you're a better version of you than you were yesterday? And hopefully you'll come to this program with the idea that you're anxious to grow and develop, and importantly, help others grow and develop. I think there's nothing more important that we can do as women in this world than lift each other up and lift other women up. And I think you'll find that is a really common theme with our program and among our staff. We're a program that's designed by women and delivered by women, and it's for women. One quick thing too, Addison, that's a bit technical or logistics related. For those of you traveling from international countries, when you arrive, we'll give you a phone. It's a little flip phone that works here in the States, and your family will be able to call you on it, and they will you'll also be able to do some texting on it. It's not a smartphone or anything. It's a pretty simple flip phone, but we will, when we meet you at the airport, keep in mind that it may take a while to get through customs depending on how large your plane was. So for those of you who've done a lot of travel, you'll know that that's the case. If perhaps you haven't done a lot of travel, please know that to expect that, and for your family to expect that. But as soon as we are together, we'll be able to give you your phone, and you'll be able to make a quick call. We'll have just an international calling card that you'll be able to make a quick call on, so you can reach your family and let them know that you've gotten here to the States safely. Or else our hotel will be pretty close to the airport. And so once we've gathered everyone from your country, we'll be able to go to the hotel and you can hop on the internet and Skype if you have a computer. And let them know that you're here safe. Also, we'll be reminding you to carry Addison's phone number and my phone number with you. And so we'll be watching your flights pretty carefully to make sure that if a flight's been delayed or whatever, please know that we're going to be watching that. So we'll be at the airport. If it's at 2 o'clock in the morning, we'll be at the airport to greet you. But also don't hesitate to call us along the way if you'd like to share some information, or you've missed a flight or something like that. Just let us know. Anything to add on that note, Addison?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, we'll have the phones, and just as soon as we get back to the hotel, you'll be able to settle in and call family and let them know that you're there safe, but it's not too long. And yeah, do not hesitate to call us at all.
Yeah.
There was a situation last year where there was a total mix-up in the flight, and so that initiation of the participant calling us was really helpful. Because
they actually arrived earlier than
yes, they got in early, which was very surprising for an international flight. But so we do our best to keep an eye on those things, and we do a pretty darn good job. I would say 99% of the time we're successful in tracking flights. But in the off chance that for some reason you show up and you don't see us, you can't find us, do not hesitate to give us a call. And I'm not sure if you said this, Mary, or not, but sometimes even what people do is somebody else in the airport, they ask if they can borrow their phone for a minute just to give us a call so that we can get connected. So I don't want you to get too worried about international charges or anything, because that's very common, and you will see how friendly people are in the airport to let you borrow their phone and let us know what's going on. So yeah, just keep us posted and keep the questions coming. I think we'll, via email at least, stay in touch and keep answering them.
And we can't wait. We're just 2 weeks out. We can't wait to bring all of you together and start our journey. And please be safe and travel safe. That's to everyone, Kansas and international women. And we're looking forward to it.
Awesome. We will see you all soon. Please feel free to email if you have additional questions. And you will hear from Dr. Alesia and I probably very soon.
Okay, sounds good.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.